Hi, this is Kathleen from oldworldfarmhouse.com, where I help you design a home full of European country charm on a serious budget. Today I wanted to take you on a tour of my fixer-upper farmhouse. Since we moved in here 6 years ago, we've done a lot to the house, but we still have even more to do. So I just wanted to take you through some of the rooms and show you what we've done and what we have left to do. So let's get started. The house was built around 1870 or thereabouts. Really, they built some of it and added on other parts as the years went on, and it's kind of hard to tell what was added when, but 1870 is our best guess. This front porch was added in the 60s when they tore down a double-decker wraparound porch that went around the house on 3 sides, and they put this in its place. So you can see it kind of has that look of like a 50s or 60s, I guess, ranch house front porch, even though it's got thicker columns and stuff like that. And when we moved in, there were green painted wooden shutters on all the windows, and they are very nice. They're original to the house, but we had them taken off because we were having a serious problem with bats roosting behind them, and we could not figure out how to make that stop. So we just took them down. I hope sometime in the future we can put them back. They're out in a barn right now being stored, but we couldn't even really use them because probably in the 90s or so, storm windows were fitted over the original wood windows, and so the shutters didn't close. They open but not close. So someday I'd like to get historically beautiful reproduction storm windows. I know there's stuff out there, or even some kind of film over the glass or something like that, so that, and then put the shutters back on. But for now, we've got these modern storm windows, which we very much appreciate in the winter. Almost all the windows in the house are the original old wooden windows, and that is just awesome. We've restored 4 of them, and we have, I can't remember, I counted once how many windows, but we have quite a few more to go. It's a rather arduous process when you're DIYing it, but it is totally possible DIY. So, and then these columns are kind of on their last legs, and we definitely need to replace them soon. And I use this front porch a lot for my project furniture. So sadly, it tends to be not looking its best, as you can see right now. It's a little bit ridiculous right now. Usually it looks slightly more respectable, but I've got a lot of things that I'm working on, so the porch is just not looking its best at the moment. Well, here we go. Let's walk into the house. It has this kind of front door that is, I think, was very typical for Victorians. Frosted windows. I always think that I should put a boxwood or something in that space. Let's open the front door. I can't decide what color to paint the front door, so again, it's been primed, and when we moved in, I restored these brass knobs. They were completely black, and I just scrubbed them with lemon juice and salt, and I think I even tried ketchup until we got back to this bronze, which I really like. I love the patina. But glass, it looks sort of like a telephone booth. This is the front entrance hallway. This mirror was here when we bought the house. I'm not sure if it was original to the house, but it kind of feels rather 1960s to me. I'm not sure. And then on one side, I have a little entrance console. There's the door through to the living room. And let's go there's the stairs going upstairs, but let's go into the living room first. So the first thing about the living room that's pretty cool is it has this stained glass up here. There's only 2 doors in the house that have an arch like this. The rest of them are square or rectangular, but the living room and dining room doors do, which makes me think the living room and dining room, or at least this room here, might have been added at a later time. So when we moved in, a lot of the rooms hadn't been painted in a very long time, but the former owners had actually wallpapered this room and finished it. Basically, they'd done the trim and everything. It's not what I would do. I actually don't mind the trim color, and we're not planning to repaint the trim because it's been painted so many times that it's getting kind of gloppy. But we do want to do something about the wallpaper. The fireplace really puts a crimp in things somehow. So this is the best I've come up with layout-wise after working and working and working. And then the fireplace, to me, this surround on it looks like they put it in the 20s. That's somewhat of an educated guess. And then these subway tiles too, it kind of makes me think of the 20s. I would like to paint it all one color. I don't care for the colors it's painted now, and I've never seen one anywhere painted in the two-tone colors. And then I need to make some proper window coverings. These are just some IKEA curtains that are completely the wrong height, and they're just held up with tension rods just to give us a little bit of privacy. But I am planning this year to finally do something about that. And then the windows in here also need to be restored. We can open them, but we have to prop them open with sticks. So we are planning to do something about that as soon as we can. The former owners did strip and polyurethane this floor. It's the only floor in the house that has poly on it. The rest of the floors are waxed floors. From the living room into the dining room, and again, there's another one of those stained glass arches. This is another room that the former owners rescued from ruin. So it's been done, and again, I really do not like the colors or the wallpaper at all, but it's probably going to be one of the last rooms that we ever tackle because it is neat and clean. I discovered recently that they actually papered over some older paper. This started coming off the wall, and you can see underneath that I think it looks like it was very pretty, and I don't know when that dates from, but what I'd like to do is take all of the paper off and paint the raw plaster, because underneath it's raw plaster. I'd like to paint the raw plaster with milk paint or a lime wash, like I did upstairs in my son's room. This molding up here is plaster. You can see there, part of it fell down and we had to prop it back up. It's plaster cast molding, so that's really cool. And then these are the three of the 4 windows, or actually I think we've done 5. So these are 3 of the 5 windows that we have actually restored, and they open and stay open. And it just opens, yay. And you can see there the strings. Mostly what happens with old windows is these strings wear out. The other thing about this room that's cool is that it has a parquet floor. Now, the thing that's not cool is that the parquet floor has been very badly damaged. We were told that it was damaged by the fact that at some point in the house's history, there are a lot of dogs in here, and this is all pet urine stains. I'm not really sure how to tackle this. I've been reading about it, but I haven't figured out what to do yet. Although I have got some ideas, and hopefully I'll be making a video about that. When I do, I'm going to try to get some of those stains up at least, and then re-wax and polish the floor. Oh, and over here there was a built-in that was taken out at some point, and I guess they never finished this part of the floor underneath the built-in, and I'm not sure what to do about that either. I don't care too much for this orange stain, and I'd really liked the floor to be a different color, but I know that our first step is just going to be to try to clean it and just protect it with a layer of wax before we go any further with anything. This room has a very heavy carved ornate mantelpiece that might have come from France. We're not entirely sure. And the fireplace does not work. As you can see, I think it was closed and the chimney cut off in the 60s when they did a lot of repair and renovation to this house. It's a very Victorian, heavy looking thing. It's not really my cup of tea, but obviously we're definitely never gonna take it out. It's a beautiful thing in its own way. And then I love the wainscoting in here. It's really cool, and I think quite old and original. We just have, that's a table my kids do crafts on there in the back, and then we just have this table in here. I would really like to get a very large, sturdy, long farmhouse table. Probably get one made sometime, but for now this is what we've got. This is the back hallway. When we moved in, this hallway was the color of dirt, and I think because it was so dull, I painted it very bright colors. Now, this is our downstairs bathroom, which is currently completely torn up. We are going to be, we're working on getting a new bathroom. It's a very exciting project. And these stairs were painted brown, and we had them painted green and white. And then there's this room, which used to be the winter kitchen of the house. We call it the red room. When we moved in, it was not red, it was sort of, again, the color of dirt, and we painted everything in here. And our kids hang out in here. This is our TV room. It used to be the winter kitchen, like I said, and the floor was a weird floor. I don't know when it was put in, but it was very stained, and we just went over it with a very dark black stain to cover up all of the problems with it. It's got a lot of problems. And then this used to be a pass-through from this room into the dining room. I guess they would pass the food through there. Now we just keep craft supplies in there for my kids. So this is really like the kids' room slash workout room. The very large hearth fireplace is behind this wall here, and it's no longer a working fireplace, but someday I would love to open that up and make it look, you know, great again. That would be cool. And then there is the windows in here are, I don't know, they're old, but they're from a different time period, obviously. And then there's a closet back here again. I'm not sure when that was put in. And there's also a door leading to the outside in here, which is kind of fun. And someday, sooner than later, I really hope that we can make this into a gravel patio. Some of the space out here, there's some bricks here now, but they're very overgrown, and I would love to put down gray gravel and have a patio set and some potted plants and things like that. And then continuing in the back hallway. In the back hallway are my pantry, which you might enjoy seeing my video about my pantry refresh. This was a room that was, again, completely the color of dirt when we moved in, and we fixed the plaster and did a lot to make it what it is now. I really am very fond of my pantry. I'm not sure if that was its original purpose, but that's what we use it for, and it works great. And then right next door is this room. When we moved in, this set of shelves was in the basement, but it had very clearly been right here in this room. So I had it brought up and fixed up a little bit. It was starting to rot, but we had it put in there, and this we use as a laundry room. We had it wired to be a laundry room. So we've got, and this is a room I'm working on refreshing. I'm almost done with it, but there's a few things I need to do, like I need to patch the plaster and touch up the paint a bit and do some other things. But that's the laundry room, and it's very conveniently located right next to the kitchen, which is at the very back of the house. And apparently this was a room that was definitely their kitchen. After the other winter kitchen they stopped using as a kitchen, they started using this one. This used to be an outbuilding of the house, from what we understand. Now, of course, it is inside the house. I don't have too many pictures or any of how this kitchen looked before. It was brown and orange and extremely awkward. So we have done a lot of work in here, and it's now a very comfortable place to cook and things like that. You might want to see my video about what I love about my unfitted kitchen design. I will link it up here below, but let's just say for now that my favorite thing are my green cabinets. I absolutely adore them, and I like to think of them as more of a dresser and less of cabinets. It goes to the outside. This is the back. My dream is to turn it into more of a shed slash have a little nook where we could go out and eat. but that is all for the future. This is the room that was probably in the worst repair when we moved in. It has this gorgeous crown molding, but it was flaking really badly. And the wallpaper was just absolutely gross. And I really am proud of how this turned out. We turned it into like a cozy den, library, English library feel. And if you might like to watch my video about the paint palette that we used in here, I really like how it turned out a lot. One of the most fun things about this house for me is that it has a back staircase in addition to the front wooden staircase. This one is a little bit steeper. Definitely feel it on my knees, but I love having the two. So this room was an old servant's room and we used it as a guest room, and we painted it these colors when we moved in. I'm pretty happy with this room, except that I need to make proper window coverings. Again, these are just thrown up there with a tension rod, and that's something that I am hoping to work on very, very soon. But I love the colors. And then we think this floor might be walnut wood, but we're not sure. And you can see here that there used to be a staircase connecting this room to that red room down below, I suppose because a servant could go down to the kitchen and then come back up to her or his room. It has another fireplace that has been bricked up, and these two windows were clearly from the 1960s. There used to be a big bay window here, and I suppose they probably had to take it out because of leaking or something like that, because they took it out. You can see the outline of it in the bricks on the outside of the house, and they put these two windows in, which interestingly enough, even though they're newer than the other windows in the house, they don't work as well. So staircase ramps around and you come up here. This hallway had crumbling tile and it was bright white, and I painted it last year this green, which is rather soothing. And this is like the back hallway. I'm really fond of it now. And then this is our upstairs bathroom. When we moved in, the upstairs bathroom was pretty ugly and we painted it. We touched up the trim, we actually kept the wall color, and my goal is to just continually cover the wall with art. Someone painted over wallpaper in here and the walls are very rough, very, very rough. But I really don't mind, I think they look kind of cool. And then our tub. We just recently got this shower ring installed, and it's really great because the kids aren't splashing as much water out of the tub anymore. But we took the tub out and I painted the outside of the tub. It was just rusted and white before, and then we put it back in and we had the inside repainted because it was down to, you could see the cast iron at the bottom of the tub, and it also was leaching lead into the water, so we have it covered with a product that makes it safe to use. I don't think this pedestal sink is original to anything. I think it's a rather modern one, and it's something that I would eventually like to replace. But when we did our little bathroom refresh, let's see, we added these towel holders on either side, and we added this one glass shelf. This glass shelf was here already, as were these little towel bars and hooks, and the whole thing makes me think of the 1920s or 30s, and I imagine that probably is accurate because that's when I think plumbing came into houses. I've looked online to kind of try to figure out the age of the toilet itself, and I think it might be a model from maybe the 40s. We had to have some work done on it because it was leaking, but once we had that done, it's been working great. And then this wainscoting beadboard, what have you, I think has been in here since the beginning. The floor had some nasty peel and stick tile, and we put down this VCT tile, which as well we have in the upstairs and downstairs hallways in the back, which is something they use commonly in schools, of course, but we were looking for a budget option for getting checkers, and we just love it, and I've really been happy with it, and it's very hard wearing, obviously, too. This is our master bedroom. This is another room that was finished when we moved in. The former owners had wallpapered it, and I actually am very fond of the wallpaper. I really like it. I also like how this fireplace is painted all one color. In the future, we want to get all these pictures hung up as a gallery wall, but right now they're just there. And here is, at some point, they covered the wood with this very thick, I guess it's linoleum. Probably owner painted it, so you can see it used to be green. And I think it was just on its last legs, and she kind of saved it by painting over it in brown, and I suppose we'll have to deal with it at some point. Most of the light fixtures in the house look like this one, and I really like them. And this is the front staircase coming up. It's very solid. I love that, because we've looked at plenty of old houses where the staircase didn't feel this solid, so I always really appreciate whoever did all the work in here. Keep it very steady. This front hallway is got a, it's original pine floor, and the thing that we need to work on here is the ceiling. The ceiling has been wallpapered and painted, and then wallpapered and then painted at least twice each, and it's a big old mess. There's also some water damage as well. So this fixture is interesting. I suppose I've been told it's original, or when they turned like a gas light into an electric. I do not care for it very much, but it is original to the house. So the walls in this hallway are rather odd. I think at some point somebody just took joint compound and just smeared it onto the failing plaster with their hands, and this is the result. I don't know when or if we'll ever get to do anything about these walls. They're very odd, but dealing with them is going to be a major undertaking. And then on the landing here, we're lucky enough to have room to keep our books. And this is a really nice little nook area where our kids like to come and read, color. All of the grown-up books are on that side. And the kids have their books over on this side. I even have a shelf with all my design books, which I really like, and some of my books from when I was a kid. So we are really enjoying this space. This was kind of a new space. For a long time, there was really nothing here at all, and our books were in boxes for years. But just about 6 months ago, we were able to do this. So it's been really great. This room is my girls' room. Again, as you're noticing the theme, none of the rooms in the house have proper curtains or window coverings, really. These are just some light blocking roller shades that we put up. That one is broken. So I really want to get in here and get to that. This year I have a video, I'll link it. We added some twin beds in here because the girls are getting older. So I'm just now starting to think about decorating this room. I primed all of the trim a few years back, but we haven't done anything other than that. This wallpaper was here and I really love it. I think it's very lovely, but it is falling off the walls and it is badly stained in spots. So we're enjoying rocking the shabby chic in here for now, but it's going to change hopefully very soon. My daughter says she's tired of the coffee stain on the ceiling, and I couldn't agree more. One fun thing, and this is something I'll be looking into more as I get into this room, but funnily enough, it took us years to realize, but there is a stencil, a beautiful stencil on the wall behind the paper. So before this room was papered, it seems to have been painted white and have this tassel stencil going around the perimeter of the room, and I'm really hoping that we can recreate that in here. I'm wildly excited about it, actually. This room also has pine floors that, as you can see, need refinishing and TLC. This is my boys' room, and we have done a ton of work in here in the past couple of years. This room was really a mess when we moved in. Disgusting, nasty wallpaper and peeling, gross paint. So what we've done is we've taken all the wallpaper down, and I've painted the walls with milk paint, which I am super, super pleased with. I'm just loving it. And I still need to go back and paint all of the trim. It's been primed, but not painted. I did wax the floors because they were in really rough shape, but of course, that's sort of a temporary thing. Something will have to be done with them in the future, perhaps. But for now, at least they have some wax on to keep them from getting too dinged up. This room also has a non-working fireplace. We also need to hang up all of this art. We haven't gotten around to that yet. And this, so I have to paint this trim. It has a beautiful built-in where I used to keep all of my sheets, but then recently I cleared everything out, and we're gonna let the boys use it for their sweaters and blankets and things because they're getting older and they need more space. I'm excited, and another thing I need to do in here is get a different light fixture. Most of the light fixtures in the house are gorgeous and somewhat original, like maybe from the 20s or so, and the former owners actually had them all cleaned and repaired, which was, God bless them for doing that. But some of them I guess were missing or something, and so this is an example of one that really needs to be swapped out for something more interesting and fun and more in keeping with the spirit of the house. These wall lights, I believe, were added in the 60s when they did some remodeling, and they are awfully handy when you're reading. This staircase leads up to the attic, and the attic is a total wreck, so we're not even gonna go in there, but it is cool that we have access to it by stairs. This is another room off that upstairs back hallway. I've noticed in the house that the sort of back parts of the house all have porcelain knobs, and this room at one point in the house's history was a kitchen. I guess the house was divided into apartments, and now at present it's not much of anything, but it could be a really cool little room. I really hope to get in here someday soon and work on it. But like I was saying, the back of the house rooms seem to have these porcelain knobs, which are lovely in their own right. And then more of the maybe front of the house, they did these brass knobs. And I've cleaned some of them, and I have more examples, very Victorian. I should do a before and after of this boys' room soon when it finally gets completely aftered, but I have done a video about the ceiling, which was a problematic ceiling because of the wallpaper up there, and I've done a video about the walls and the trim paint and also how I did the floor, so I will link to all of those in case any of that would be of interest or helpful to you. And another thing I love about this house is, of course, the fancy light fixtures they're great, they're fine, but I love these ones that are sort of in the back of the house. They're so simple. I just love them. I've got this one. There's a really cool one in here. I just adore that light fixture so much. And there's a cool one in the upstairs bathroom as well. Really fond of those. I love this light cover in my daughter's room as well. It's just a really delicate, pretty one. I hope you enjoyed this house tour. I love my house, and I feel so privileged that we're able to be the ones who are its caretakers right now. The former owners both passed away in the past year, and that has made my husband and I feel very humble because we look around and we're like, wow, you know, they're passed away and the house is still standing, and now here we are on the front lines. So I know that we are not the first, and we're just one of many in a long line of people who have imagined this house, built this house, loved this house. And this is Kathleen from oldworldfarmhouse.com. Consider subscribing to my channel and following along with me for more content on European country style and old houses and fixer-upper DIY. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.